Okay, so I just got access to and download the new Logos Beta version 46, which has the Study Assistant, which is their new AI feature, and I'm going to test it out. But before that, it got me thinking, what is the current status of digital Bible study right now? How has it improved over the years, and where's it going? Um, but before that, I should also tell you that kind of what triggered this video is I was recently given a year subscription to Logos in return for a review, which this video is, but it's also more than that. But don't mistake that as if Logos paid me for a positive review. They didn't pay me. They are giving me a subscription for a year, um, just to make a review, and didn't ask anything in regards to that. I can say whatever I want, and I would say whatever I want. Um, Truth is, I was paying for Logos before they offered to give me a subscription, so I would have paid for it anyways. And I've purchased so many base packages over the years that I probably don't gain anything with a subscription to Logos besides access to the AI feature and any improvements they make in the software immediately, which I find fun, and so I don't mind doing it. Another reason I wouldn't mind, and I didn't mind paying for a subscription is that I want Logos Bible Software as a company. I want them to succeed. And I want them to be around and get better because it helps me and it helps others. And I've seen other Bible software products like BibleWorks that somehow their business model wasn't successful and then they closed their doors and now you no longer have any updates or anything for whatever your investment was in that software. And that would be terrible if that happened to Logo. So I don't want that to happen. So I don't mind subscriptions. I don't mind buying stuff there. And I don't feel like I'm getting ripped off because I want them to succeed because I benefit from it. So where was Bible software? So we actually have to go a step before that. But so before Bible software, and a bunch of you guys know this, we had a bunch of books that you had to flip through to research and find the information you're looking for. Things like commentaries, dictionaries, lexicons, reference resources, Strong's Concordance, Vines, etc. And it just took a lot of time just to flip through the pages and look up words. I mean, you had to use Strong's if you didn't know Greek or Hebrew to find the words you're looking for in the original languages. Bible software vastly sped up this process. You could now select a word in the Bible while you were reading it and see what the original Greek, Hebrew, or Aramaic of that English word is. And also where else it occurred in the entire Bible, and what the meaning of that word is, and what other resources are in your library, your digital library. This was so incredibly faster than pulling out a Strong's Concordance or a Greek lexicon and what other books you might have or had or needed to do. Like, it saved you hours of time, right? So in the early days of Bible software, in my early days were Logos Libronics Library, I don't know, 2007, 6, I don't know, somewhere back then, maybe even before that, I don't remember. Basically what you had was a digital library and it was searchable. And that was amazing at the time. The big downside is that doing search queries required knowing complex syntax that the search field could understand. It was and still is a little like knowing coding. I still have to look up how to do some of the complex searches I want to do when I'm trying to do my own Bible study because it's complicated and it's not normal, right? I have to know like Boolean operators, all this kind of stuff. But it's still far quicker than going through physical books and flipping through and trying to find what you're looking for. That still takes way more time. So what we got in the early days was the speed of not having to flip through physical books for the information, which was a massive improvement and it was awesome. So, but where are we now? We still have the speed of not having to look through physical books, and the main thing it seems that Bible software, and particularly Logos, are working on currently is how to access that information that we have in our digital libraries more efficiently and without having to be an expert search queryist or whatever. Thus, the introduction of the Smart Search, which was their first introduction of an AI feature in Logos, right? It can handle more common language questions to search your library for the information you're looking for. It's not perfect, and it can't do everything you might want it to do. But recently, with this Logos Beta 46 that I have access to, they have introduced Study Assistant, which is an improved feature of the Smart AI search, which allows for follow-up questions, which was not available before, and maintains the context. Before, with Logos AI Smart Search, you could not ask follow-up questions and have it maintain that context. I've played with this a little bit, and it isn't as good as ChatGPT or Cloud AI, but it's a welcome improvement. And the Smart Search still can't replace all the technical searches you have to do if you're looking for like syntactical structures or morphological searches or something like that. So it's not where I want it to be, but let's take a look and see what Logos Study Assistant can and can't do. Now, there's two ways where you can find the new Study Assistant when you're there. So one is you go to Tools, and it's right here, Study Assistant. You can click that open. You can see I've already asked a couple questions in here. And then this will pop up for you. Let's close that though. We're going to go a different route. The other route is you open up a search. Let me get to the end of all the books I have here. So we'll just do this, and we will look for search here. So search, and I guess I could have gone to search over here also and just hit that, but this is the way I typically do it. Now you need to make sure, as you can see, morph is the selected tab. You gotta make sure you're in all. So this is the normal smart search feature, and you know that it's doing the little AI thing because of these little stars here, right? So I can ask any question like, how many times does Paul reference the death of Jesus in his writings? Let's see what it gives us here. So it's already pulling up some books, things that might be relevant, that it's drawing in some information from, and it's going to give me a synopsis. And we're kind of waiting on that synopsis or summary to complete before we go to the next step. So we'll see the whole thing. So I'm just skipping ahead here. So specifically, Paul has only 5 references to the crucifixion as a verb, primarily concentrated in Galatians and 1 Corinthians. So like I could not have done that in a normal search. I could search like the word, if I wanted to do this normally, what I'd have to do is do something like pull this up, go Bible, search, we'll just leave it in ESV, death. All right, and now I have to do that. And if I want to get a little more complicated, I could do a morph and say, and this is only because I know Greek a little, I could do this, thanatos, and say, hey, show me all those. And then I got to read through each of these, right? Each of these occurrences, say, hey, which one relates to Jesus' death? And I could, instead of all passages, I could limit this to Paul's letters. So I've now limited 47 results in 42 verses based on the Greek word. But that's a noun, it's not the verb. So I need to do the verb, and maybe I want crucifixions in there too. Maybe he doesn't say death, but he is referencing death. And the context makes that clear. So it's not going to get everything for me. So this is the way you would have to do it before. And go through and read each one in context and see. And then you still might be missing some because the word, maybe he used something other than death, right? So let's go back to our smart AI search. And so it's done it for us. So look at this, 10 references to the cross. Stavros, 8 uses of the verb for crucifixion, stavrun is how I'd say it. Then he keeps going. This is great information, but we're not here for this information particularly. We're looking at how it works. So this is the other way you get to the Study Assistant. So at the end of the synopsis and just a regular smart search, remember you want to be on the All tab, you continue in Study Assistant. So, and it brings that thing straight on over. But now I can ask follow-up questions, right? I can ask, let's think. How many times does Paul reference the death of Jesus in his writings? How does this compare to other, probably don't need, let's try NT, see if it understands that. Other New Testament writers. Or authors, I should have probably said so. But we'll see how good it is at handling that information. I mean, it'd be interesting to know what was Paul's favorite language for talking about the death of Jesus. What is Peter's? What is John's? All that kind of stuff. Looking at this, doesn't seem like it understood. Let's see. Paul's references to Jesus' death are remarkably comprehensive and theologically nuanced compared to other New Testament writers, like the Synoptic Gospels, Acts, Paul still talking about how Paul articulates that Christ died for our sins in accordance with the Scriptures. His understanding of Jesus' atoning death. So that's not what I wanted. I want more of this. So let's see if it can give me a summary. Can you give? This is something I would ask of ChatGPT on any theological subject that I'm interested in. Can you give me a summary of each New Testament author's, how do we say it in the beginning? References to the death of Jesus. Let's see if it can do that. So it's working on it. So here we go. So here's where we end up. It says, I'm sorry, but I can't provide a comprehensive summary of every New Testament author's reference to the death of Jesus in a single response. That would be a very extensive theological undertaking. So it's not able to do. Now let's just carry this question. I'm going to copy it really quick. I am going to pull up a ChatGPT window, and we're going to see what ChatGPT does. You can see it's kind of new chat. Okay, let's see. Bring this in so you can see it too. Okay, we're going to paste that same question. Can you give me a summary of each New Testament author's reference to the death of Jesus? And it doesn't even have the previous question, so we'll see how it does. It's going to give me something, no matter what. Here's something Logos doesn't do either. Flatter you with every question you ask. Excellent question, which I could do without. I just want the information. So it gives me Synoptic Gospels, Matthew. We have Luke, the Gospel of John. And these are little summaries. I mean, I think this is like helpful. But if you're doing like I've got my master's of arts and biblical languages and linguistics. Like this isn't, ChatGPT is not giving me enough information. Like I kind of want a list of all the terms that each author uses and every reference with those terms. The summaries are good to get me like my head kind of started and wrapped around the idea and concepts, but it's not detailed enough for me to start making comprehensive claims or arguments. It's like a primer. It's like, this is what I would consider like good information in like a 1-volume study Bible or something like that. Like it's a good starting place. It's great for someone who's just starting out on their journey, studying scripture and stuff like that. So like this is interesting here. I've got a list: Mark, Matthew, Luke, John, Acts, Paul, and it's telling me some quick ideas of how they emphasize or talk about it. And obviously I need to go back and see if I think it's accurate and confirm, blah, blah, blah. Let's see if it can give me can you give me a summary of the terms that each author uses in reference to Jesus' death. So it can do this. I doubt. Let's do the same question. And once again, we want to fact check ChatGPT because in my experience, it misses things. And even when it gives these like summaries, right, that we were looking at before, like I don't know where it's drawing any of this information from, right? I don't know where it's getting any of these things. Like who knows where? Where that's one of the advantages of Logos is we know where it's getting it from. It's getting it from resources that we trust and can rely upon, right? And especially if you're in school working like your master's degree, your bachelor's degree, whatever it is, and it's in a theological biblical emphasis, the ability to copy and paste and have a citation and created for you is amazing. Like that's a huge benefit of using this versus ChatGPT. And I don't know, because I'm not in school when ChatGPT was like really working. I don't know if you're able to cite it at this point. I doubt it because it's not that level of scholarly trust. But let's see how Logos handles that same question we just asked. My guess is it's going to give me the I'm sorry thing. But let's find out. We're crossing our fingers and hoping. Maybe there's a book that's already done this that it's going to find. And that book, it'll give us the information. Okay. So it's giving us a list of terms and ways it's spoken of. The verbs included. So this is great, right? Like, I mean, personally, I would like this in Greek just because seeing it transliterated is like harder for me at this point. But this is great information. Like, I'm personally doing a study on the death of Jesus right now, and I have a whole bunch of books I've purchased, literal books that I'm reading through. Some books I like to read through more than I like if it's just a book you would read through, I don't like to do it on Logos so much. But I love commentaries and dictionaries and that kind of stuff on Logos because it's just easier and better. So that's helpful. It's not exactly what I was looking for. You know, I wanted to list like Paul and then all the nouns and verbs that he uses, and then Peter and then John, you know what I mean? That's what I was looking for. But it's helpful information. It's getting me closer to my goal. If I had to do that that would be, I don't know if I could do that. Search references to Jesus' death. Like, I guess we could look up somehow a morphological search that uses like, where the subject is Jesus and verbs that are used. I can't think of a way you could easily do that in the normal search feature. Like, I just don't know how you could do that. Maybe you guys are smarter than me and you know a way, blah, 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 blah. So that's a few of the examples that Study Assistant to you. Let's take a look at a couple others. Okay, so here we are. I've already kind of set up a question so we can speed this up a little bit and still see what it's capable of. So over here, we're in a normal search pane. Now we're under clause, right? And I've set up a specific search where the subject is Jesus, and there's a verb and the lemma, the Greek lemma, that's the dictionary form of the word stavro, which means crucify, is found with Jesus as the subject. And so I've already done it, it's already searched it, and it's found 11 times. But this is the kind of thing you have to remember how to do. And when you pull up the search pane on a blank page, it gives you some examples so you can kind of see, and that's how I was able to do it this time. So I can see, hey, 11 times, then he released, and we got Matthew 27:26, then he released for them Barabbas, and having scourged Jesus, delivered him to be crucified. And we can skim through all these and see them really quick, right? So I want to know, can the study assistant, if I can't remember the way to set this up, can it do it? Because like in my head, I can think of it really quick. And then I think, how do I communicate this to the search to get what I want? So I could easily just say, can you list all the biblical references where Jesus is the subject of the verb crucify? And let's see if it can do it. I haven't actually ran this yet, so we're going to find out together. Yes, submit. Now, I wonder if it's actually using the search feature or if it's searching, it says it's searching the Bible, not searching the book. Okay, this is actually promising. We already have, so it is not giving us a comprehensive list. It's interesting that we have Matthew 27:35, but here we have Matthew, then he released. It makes me wonder if this isn't technically interesting. I'm wondering why these haven't grabbed the same things. Let's see if that John 19:18. Look at that. Not so far, not one of these has corresponded with the other. I'd have to think about this some more to see why it might have done that, but it gave us something. It didn't give us this. I mean, on the left panel, I trust it a little more specifically. Every time Jesus is subject of the verb stavro is showing up. Like, I trust that wholeheartedly, that those are every time it's grammatically structured like that. Where on the right, I'm a little more interested, and I need to go look at the Greek and see how this actually is, this 27:35, to figure out why it wouldn't be in our normal search pane, our normal clause search pane. But interesting. So that was cool. Gives you an idea what it's capable of, what it's not capable of. Okay, so one more example. This is something I would commonly do in ChatGPT. What I've asked it is, can you compare how Douglas Moo and Mark Nanos understand, because I like to get comparison of different scholars on different spectrums, understand Galatians 6:16. So hopefully it's going to tell me, hey, here's what Douglas Moo would say about Galatians 6:16. Here's what Mark Nanos would say on Galatians 6:16. And sure, I could probably do this if I had a commentary by Douglas Moo and a commentary by Mark Nanos and go read what they wrote under Galatians 6:16. So not too hard to get this information if you have those resources, but let's see how it does. This is just a normal smart search, and we're going to see where it goes when we get to the study assistant. So it's processing that question. So all these questions, if you see that down there at the bottom left, they use up my monthly AI credits. So it says I've used 5% so far, and it's going to refill on November 17th. I've never used it all up. Okay, so it finally gave us our answer. Let's see. Okay, so Nanos' views differ from the national elect perspective and does not see believers in Christ as redefined Israel. I already knew that. This is what I was hoping to see. Regarding Moo's interpretation, the text suggests he constructs a somewhat problematic argument, potentially expanding the reference to abstract values that may be extraneous to the context. While Moo acknowledges that new creation involves the Spirit and faith working through love, he is equivocal about whether Paul is referring to the crucifixion of his personal value system or to an abstract world or old age. Interesting. In contrast, one scholarly interpretation suggests that the Israel of God in Galatians 6:16 denotes elect Israel of history reached after careful evaluation of Paul's use of language and the salvation historical context. Importantly, scholars note that there is no explicit instance in the New Testament where the church is identified as Israel, which casts doubt on replacement theology interpretations. The nuanced differences between Moo and Nanos reflect the complex theological debate surrounding the interpretation of this particular passage. What's really interesting to me here is that the resources aren't from Douglas Moo or Mark Nanos. I find that curious. Because I know I have Moo's stuff in my library for sure. So let's see what Study Assistant will follow up with and can do. So it's already there. I'm just going to say, how does, I wonder if we could just go with Moo. See It should be able to track with that. How does Moo understand the passage? We don't want to tell more. We want to see it in action using the context, right, as the clues for a study system. Because that's how I would ask if I was talking to someone. I'd be like, well, how does Moo understand it? I would even say it, but we'll give it to the passage. So it's going to work on it. See if we can get it to actually tell us Moo's direct thoughts instead of what other people have said about Moo. I mean, it did pull up good. I mean, these look like legit articles that you'd want to read and that I should probably read because I'm curious about this question. Look at that. Interesting. Once again, this doesn't use Moo. That is bewildering to me. Does Douglas Moo not? He's got to have commentary. Moo. Galatians. Yeah, so I even have his commentary on Galatians. So, but surprised we're not going to go look at it in case you're curious. Sorry. Wow, that's surprising to me that it doesn't actually use Douglas Moo on 6:16. Sure, let's look at it. We got to know surely he wrote something on Galatians 6:16. Let's go. We have to answer this riddle. Okay. It's at the end of 6:16. This is kind of not helpful. So here we go. We know he addresses it in his commentary. So for whatever reason, the study assistant is not pulling from Douglas Moo's stuff. Can I make it? What does Douglas Moo say in his commentary on Galatians? Let's see which commentary is this? The BECNT? Galatians. His BECNT commentary, I'm pretty sure it's BECNT. We'll just fact check that really fast. Is that the Baker Exegetical? Yeah, Baker Exegetical, okay. Can we force it to look through the book we want it to look through? Wow. That is bizarre to me. Huh. I'm not sure I have. Now I'm curious if it can go through any book. Let's see if we have Nanos. I don't know if I have books by Nanos in here. So this is in my physical library, but not in this library. Okay, so we probably can't do Nanos, but interesting. We'll have to look at that more. I don't know what to do with that right now. That'd be a good question for Logos. Be like, hey, why the heck isn't it searching when I'm asking about a certain author, his books, to give me what he says straight from the author's mouth instead of what other people reference him? Interesting. We'll see what they do with that. So, what is the future of Bible software? I think there's a near future, right? So, first off, in the near future, if Logos can make search capable from just using common language and not need to know the complex search Boolean operators and all that stuff that feels like coding, I can just say it the way I'm thinking it and it can understand it and do what I'm asking, or even suggest, hey, is this what you meant? Blah, 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 and give me the option to do it. Like, give me suggested ideas. That'd be amazing if it could do that. So you don't have to be an expert in all the technicalities of how you do that. And I can get to the information I want quicker instead of trying to search how the heck do I write this up to get what I want, right? For example, what if I wanted to find a certain construction in the Greek, but I don't know the specific language or the specific formula to search in the field? So I just ask for it. And normal speech and Logos suggest possible options, right? How it might benefit my study, or hey, have you thought about this? This might really be strategic to think and ask. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I didn't think about it. Thank you for helping me. And, I think that's where it could go in the near future. And if Logos could simply do what ChatGPT does with follow-up questions and summaries like that, and showing us the sources. That's so amazing. Give us reliable answers we can trust. I love that about Logos. That doesn't feel that far away. Most of my questions revolve around historical context, language, and linguistics, and summaries of various viewpoints. It just makes me think that what Logos did initially to Bible studies removed so much of the wasted time flipping through pages of various resources, just trying to get to the relevant information. And I think the future they could do is another step of that, of speeding up, getting us through all the thousands of books and pages that we have and ciphering through and getting us to the relevant information that much quicker. And I think that's what they're reaching for. And I think we're going to see that here in the years to come, maybe months, and to get us that information quicker without having to be technical experts, right? And that doesn't even consider where AI could take us in specialized fields, and analyzing the original Greek and Hebrew and showing us patterns we've never seen before, Like, oh my gosh, like what if there's like, if you've heard of a chiasm, these linguistic features like we've never seen before, and all of a sudden it's pumping out and says, oh wow, here's all this stuff you've never seen before. Let's look at it and see what the data shows. That's where it could, some of the ways I think we go in the near future. And who knows, in the distant future. I mean, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. And hopefully Logos, we can get it to them and they can improve it for us. So where would you like to see digital Bible study go? What can Logos do to make it that much better that will help us all go deeper and understand the Word of God better? All right, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. If you want to subscribe, if you can, hit that like button to help me out and get this out to more people. Thanks again.